The SCP Foundation contains, or at least attempts to contain, a variety of hellish beings, from SCP-106, which corrodes all that it touches, to 682, a vicious reptile with perhaps infinite regenerative abilities. That, however, is taken to a new level with the topic of today's SCP Lore video, SCP-1179, a being straight out of not only hell, but mythology itself. Roll the intro. In 1871, what appeared to be a massive, slumbering giant was unearthed by a secret society in Pennsylvania, having been found deep underground during a coal mining expedition. It's unknown how long the creature had been sleeping for, or its origin, but evidence suggests it may be hundreds of millions of years old. In the early 20th century, 1179 was discovered by the Foundation, who purchased the mine and established a permanent base of operations. The being has been viewed by human eyes, but is seemingly impossible to photograph. Its most common form is one very similar to a Balrog from Lord of the Rings, or other mythological underworld guardians or beings. It's a volcano incarnate, humanoid but created of rock, always alit with live fires, breathing smoke and stinking of sulfur and gases. It has two long ram-like horns, is about 30 meters tall, and armed with both a whip and sword made of fire. It can, however, through unknown means, alter its appearance, not only changing shape, but even at times becoming totally invisible, though I do wonder whether the latter is actually just an explanation for persons confused by the beast's exceptional speed and quietness. Variations in appearance can be drastic, with 1179 taking the appearance of a completely different type of creature, or comparatively minor, related to details like the presence of fangs or wings. Well, that's after it was reanimated at least. In 1962, a portion of the subterranean coal surrounding 1179 caught fire, eventually reaching and somehow awakening the beast. Returned now to life, 1179 not only damaged the Foundation's installation, but retreated into the deeper man-made and natural mines near its resting place, also expanding its territory. As 1179 continued to dig, the initial fire spread throughout its ever-expanding underground complex. The infernos would become seemingly self-perpetuating and impossible to stop. The creature too was unrecoverable, so nearby settlements were evacuated, and now a much broader area was designed as a special containment zone, designated Area 179. The phenomenon was classified as a serious mining fire, which continued to spread throughout the region, with sinkholes spewing noxious gases and even cracking through the surface of the earth. Analysis of these gases reveals that they match the breath of 1179. Although, as I mentioned, the actual blaze is self-perpetuating and continuing to expand through the subterranean tunnels and mines, 1179 itself stays within an area of roughly 2 kilometers. And that's basically the complete history. The fires show no sign of stopping anytime soon, and all populations have been moved far from the area. Let's look at explanations though, and I think the matching breath is one of the keys here. I think any expulsions of gas can be matched to 1179 because the creature is somehow transforming his new subterranean lair, making a hellish landscape more similar to wherever it came from or wherever it's destined to be. This is likely why the tunnels have gotten not only wider and more complex, but also deeper. This subterranean transformation itself is likely one of the reasons the Foundation has not been more aggressive in pursuing and trying to fully contain 1179. The new and ever-burning fires are being treated as a potential source of energy under the SCP Project Vulcan's Forge, and so long as 1179 keeps within its relatively stable territory, it will most likely be left alone. If it does expand, it's likely that the Foundation would destroy it. 1179 is not invulnerable and has been damaged by the Foundation in the past, damage which has not healed. Now that Area 179 1179 is largely abandoned by civilians. If necessary, the Foundation could employ medium-yield nuclear weapons or other dangerous tools. The Foundation is also working on a way to neutralize the expanding fires, which they've dubbed Project Tartarus. Tartarus also seeks to create new containment protocols, as again, the current ones rely largely on the behavior of the beast remaining consistent. But what about origin? And 1179 is interesting. It's perhaps hundreds of millions of years old, maybe even earlier, and is almost a physical embodiment of hell. In my opinion, I think this is some sort of creature meant for the end of the world. It's not only a volcano personified, but fire and brimstone. Perhaps, and again this is a very wild theory, upon the apocalypse, this being, alongside others across the globe, will spring forth from the ground and help with the cleansing of humanity as the earth burns and becomes hellish. This would suggest, I guess, other creatures around the world. I don't think 1179 is a god. It can transform, but can also be injured. Its ability to transform and the way it chooses to take on a shape which is familiar and culturally relevant to many of us, I think indicates that it's either the source of mythology or perhaps meant to interact with humans in some way, perhaps in that apocalypse scenario I mentioned earlier. Speaking of culture, from an out-of-universe perspective, 1179, at least visually, is almost identical to the Balrog of Lord of the Rings. The design of the two beings are almost the exact same, down to the horns and other features. Balrogs are also known to use fire swords and whips, and are also extraordinarily old. The author, however, has stated that they intended it to be based off the Jotun, or Norse giant known as Surtr, the one you see in Thor Ragnarok, among other places. I don't know enough about Norse mythology to say how close the comparison fits, but it's hard for me to imagine something closer to 1179 than the Balrog. However, that is just my opinion. What do you think of my theories on SCP-1179? Do you have any of your own? What do you think of the design and description of this creature? Let me know all of that and more down in the comments section. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Just a reminder that my new podcast with Corey is available both on YouTube and on Spotify. Hopefully by now also iTunes. We'll see. Links to everything down in the description. Anyway guys, as always, this has been EckhartsLadder. Be safe, have a great day, and may the Force be with you.